Hey guys, it's Urban here, and welcome back to World of Tanks. And today I am going to do a tutorial on how to play on the map called Prokhorovka. My friend, whose name is Jan, and he has just started playing this game, wants to know more about this map. Or let's just say he wants to know more about everything, because he doesn't know anything about any kind of map and where to go on a certain map. Now this is just... there's going to be a few mine replays and maybe one or two from somebody else, but marking other people's, Not really, why did I say that? Anyways. Well, I lost words there, but I'm just gonna start right from the start. So this is basically a tutorial on Prokhorovka, yes. I'm gonna show you pretty much just where to go with a certain tank, how to use them on that flank. So here we have a heavy tank. Now, heavy tank usually has a lot of armor, big gun, well, decent gun, and mobility pretty bad, but it does make up for it with the armor. However, this is not a typical heavy tank, this is an AMX 50B, but I'll use it. Why not? Now, let's check out the minimap. See, heavy tanks usually, where my MIDI, go to the F0 area over here, but that's usually if the heavy tank has gun depression, in which case I have 10 degrees of gun depression to my 50B, which is more than enough to work on ridge lines over here. Over here you can also come with the medium tank, but let's focus on heavy tanks first. So over here, use your gun depression if your heavy tank has gun depression, yes. If your tank doesn't have good gun depression, but still a heavy tank, like a T125, well, T125 does have decent gun depression, but First Triumph has decided to go in the middle, which is also a good spot for a heavy tank. So these are pretty much the two spots that you want to go with a heavy tank, which are E5 or F0. Now, you can't really decide which one is better. Well, it is. If you have good gun depression, you go here on F0. If you don't have good gun depression, but your tank is still pretty good, it's a heavy tank, go to E5 or 6. But bear in mind, the E5 and 6 is a pro player area. It's not good for beginners. One reason is because when you go into this place, just by looking at the map, you can see that it's pretty much in the middle of the map, which means that you can shoot anywhere. How is that a bad thing, Urban? Well, it's a bad thing because that means that pretty much anywhere can shoot you. So, yeah. If you can shoot anything, it means that everything else can shoot at you. So if you don't have good view range, which heavy tanks do not have, and light tanks will spot you, so it's not good for beginners, but it is a heavy tank spot. So that's it for the heavy tanks. So what do we have? We have heavy tanks, medium tanks, light tanks, tank destroyers, and artilleries. I'm not sure if I should touch on artilleries, but hey, I've covered the heavy tank line, heavy tanks, where to go, and pretty much how to use them. Here it's pretty much a trade-off between your heavy tank and the enemy heavy tank, because usually they go there. But when you go here, you do have to take into account pretty much on the both sides, you have to take into account that you can be easily shot at from the hill. If you spawn on the south, you will be easily shot at by the team that spawns on the north, which will shoot you here. And if you're on the north, you will be easy shots for the team who are on the south, shooting you like this. So that's the number one place you should avoid when you go with a heavy tank in the middle. When you are here, you should also take into account that you should be afraid of the heavies that are on this side, because that means that they can shoot at you as well However, it is harder to spot the ones that are over here and they are in the middle, because in the middle there are usually light tanks that will spot the heavy tanks and you will have pretty nice shots. But if you do get spotted, means that heavy tanks over here will have pretty nice shots. Onto the side. Okay, so after I took a quite heavy artillery punch, let's take a look at medium tanks. Okay, so here we are back with the medium tanks playing in Tier 6 Cromwell. This was not a very good game, and yes, this is a fiery stadium map, but if you don't know, it's pretty much the same as Prokhorovka, except it's a bit darker and there are planes flying all over the place, and that's the only difference. Right, so medium tanks. What I'm doing right now is pretty much usually what medium tanks do, but not just medium tanks, also light tanks. So, medium tanks usually go over here, on this E line, over on this ridge area, E6, 5, 4 and 3, if you're trying to spot somebody, and maybe put a few shots into him as well. Also, you can go with a medium tank over here, like that Leopard is doing. He's a light tank, which means he has to spot. You can be a bit behind him and maybe support him a little bit, and that's pretty much it with the medium tanks on this side. But you shouldn't do it too often because you're not the most effective. It's more effective if you are a medium tank on the south spawn. That way you can hide at H1 and maybe spot a tank or two with a medium tank, so that's a good spot there for a medium tank. But mostly here if you have good gun depression, of course. Another spot for medium tanks is also on this side. Like on the heavy tanks, if you have good gun depression with your medium tanks, this is a very good spot at E0 like before. You can take shots at the heavy tanks that are coming over here, and it will be hard to spot them. They will hard spot you because you're in a medium tank and your camera rating is much better than the heavy tanks. Unless there are enemy tanks that will push up here, so let's say. On the south spawn, it is pretty much the same concept. You go up on this hill and maybe, well, pretty much you should go forward, but you do have to take care of that there are, let's say, at least 3 or 4 people up on the hill, so you can be confident of going forward, because if there's only like 1 or 2, don't do that, stay at the back. But if there is a pack of you, you should push forward, maybe cross the ridgeline a little bit to check if there is anybody there, but I shouldn't do that because there are tank destroyers camping at the back and they will shoot you. So pretty much stay here on this ridgeline and shoot at the heavy tanks that come on the middle, as I said before. Now this T-34 is a bit pesky over here, so I have to shoot him down. Right, so that's pretty much here. At the south spawn is the same as on the south spawn. Go to F5, 6, 4, 3, 2. You might support also tank destroyers, which go to the 1 and 2 line. Go to H1, maybe spot a tank or 2, but that's pretty much it for medium tanks, I would say. So that's pretty much covered the medium tanks. Now let's take a look at the tank destroyers. So here we are with the tank destroyers. Not the most amusing tanks to play, but hey, it is what it is. To go with tank destroyers on Prokhorovka. Well, as you can see me where I am, you can be at C9 or pretty much anywhere on this bit of hill. As I'm going to show you here, you might want to be in this bush here, this here, and a very good spot is in these bushes at the back if you have good view range, of course. But pretty much any kind of height here, tank destroyer will have good view range to shoot there. But hey, that's it. That was a good shot at the Scorpion G. As you can see, if the enemies do choose to push forward, this is a very good spot to shoot tanks at the front. However, this is not obviously the only spot for tank destroyers. Usually, tank destroyers go to the 1 and 2 line. This is the most often where the tank destroyers go on this map, because the reason why is there's a lot of bushes overall on this road, There's many bushes on this side over here, but not that many on up here, but whatever. You do have to take into account that you should not camp at B2 the entire game, because that's not gonna help anything. You gotta push forward or do nothing really. Same on this side, you gotta push. Sitting here is just pointless and stupid. But yeah, tank destroyers usually go on the 1-2 line. The way they work on the 1-2 line is usually Scout goes to the 1, spots the enemies, and you shoot the tank destroyers that are on the other side and pretty much kill them. However, if you spawn on the south, pretty much the same concept. You go to 1 and 2 line, as you can see here. And however, you do not have the benefit for a light tank to sit here, but light tank will have a harder job at spotting the enemy tanks to the north. So it is a problem for light tanks and tank destroyers on the south side, but it doesn't really matter because it usually is 50% to who's gonna win on this flank. So that's not the biggest fear to worry about here. But just do not camp at B12, A12, or K12 and J12, because that's just annoying and pisses everybody off. Please, don't do that. That's not being a tank destroyer, that's just being rude and campy and a retard. Anyways, there is one more spot that if the enemies do not decide to push forward, like in this case they didn't, there is one more spot that I am going to take, but it is a bit risky. Now this IS-3 is, well, it's an IS-3, it's a heavy tank, it will get spotted and it will get killed. However, I'm a tank destroyer, I have a bit better camouflage rating, and you can sit here and get side shots to the people on the hill. Where I am at C7 or maybe D7, these are good positions here because there are a lot of bushes here to hide behind. So yeah, it's not really a problem as long as your team pushes, but your team is not going to, well, at least my team is not going to push, as I'm not Dave is sitting there in the M49, which is where he should be in a heavy tanks. But when there are tanks, tier 10s on the enemy team on that side, you pretty much just kind of wait for you to get killed. But hey, I saw that we're gonna lose. I went to this side so I can get better side shots on the enemy heavy tanks just before I die. And the reason why this spot is risky, because you can be spotted if somebody pushes up here, but that's really unlikely if somebody pushes up here, because you might die from that. But hey, whatever, you can't really complain about it. And if they have a scout up here, you might just be spotted. You might, but it's not 100%. So that is... yeah. But when they do push, like the enemies are going to start pushing, you are pretty much dead. So that is kind of a risky spot. It means that your team does have to push forward when they have to push forward. Because if they don't, you are dead. So yeah, pretty much tank destroyers here, here, and the 1-2 line. South is pretty much the same, 1-2 line. On the south, tank destroyers really like to camp on the J7 and J8 over here on these rails, because they can get very good side shots if your team decides to push. They can get very nice side shots into them, so that's not the best. Okay, so that's pretty much covered the tank destroyers, and I am going to die here, as you will see here. And yeah, bam. But hey, it was worth it for that 2,500 damage that I've done, because why not? Anyways, so what should we look now? Should be medium tanks we've done. Oh yeah, light tanks. Not the most favorite, but let's do it. Okay, I am back, and here we go with the light tanks. Now, this isn't the most light tank in the game, because it is pretty much smaller T-54, but it is a T-54 lightweight, and it is a light tank after all. Anyway, so this, and it is a very good light tank by the way, and this is what he's gonna do is pretty much highlighting the main thing about Prokhorovka when you play a light tank. When you play a light tank like this, you should sit in this area where he is sitting right now. Now it's either in this bush here, but if you are a bit aggressive like he's gonna do now, go to these bushes up here. However, you do have a high risk of getting spotted. It's barely possible in these light tanks and tier rates which have very good spotting, not spotting, camouflage rating, that's the one. Light tanks have very good camouflage rating at tier rate, but if you are thinking of doing yet another tier 4 light tank, tier 4 or 5, don't do it, because you'll get spotted quite quickly if you do it on a tier 4 or 5. Well, you might try, but I highly doubt it. Instead, if you're in a tier 4 or 5 light tank, I would recommend you go on this ridge as he does that as well. As you can see, he's picking up quite decent spotting damage already. Here over on E6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And if you're on the other side, you do the same thing except you're on the F. 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2. So that's it, there we go. Over 1,700 spotting damage already done in the light tank. That's fantastic. Now, when you're in the side, it is the best position for spotting is the E1. But that's only possible, in my opinion, when you're playing the high tier light tank. E1, if you're on the other side, if you saw where those medians were at the beginning, where they spot him, that's pretty much where you should be in your light tank. Or maybe in these small bushes up front here in the age area. But you can't really go any more forward than that. There is a bit of a downside to this side, because they can't really spot very far. Look at that, 3,800 spotting damage already. He is a bit lucky, let's just say that. These kind of games don't often happen. You really have to have your team doing exactly what you want them to do. And he's spotting everything and getting all the damage. So these are pretty much the light tank spots. Light tanks should not spot anywhere on this side. Well, maybe if you are in a light, maybe go into F9 here on this ridgeline to spot maybe somebody on here. But that's really kind of ignored one. The most where scouts are active at E line and F line. And on this side you have to go into E1 like the WZ132 just did. But you do have to be unspotted. He wasn't, so he got killed. If you get spotted here, just run. Because otherwise you will die quickly. But there is a very good spot here at E1. Other side, age area. So that's how you should play light tanks on Prokhorovka. Yes, I do play artillery, please don't kill me. Now artillery is kind of ignored, but I'm gonna say it anyway, even though it's for the noobs, but hey. So in artilleries, you can go either here at A1, 2, or maybe B1 and B2. Either sit where I am at A6, pretty nice spot, or sit in this river here at A8 or maybe A7 here on this side. But that is a kind of a weak side, so the best sides to go is A6 or A1 and 2. Camp there, pretty much fun. If you are sitting here like I am and you see enemies coming pushing you, this side has falling, please don't be an idiot, move over on this side with the tank destroyers to live longer and give some support. If that happens, but if not, just stay here. If they are pushing on this side, push on this side, maybe with these heavies, but you do have to have a pretty fast artillery. If the heavy 3 to 5 is an artillery that goes 40 kilometers an hour, which is okay, but that's pretty much the limit. 40 kilometers an hour is pretty good, but anything slower than that is not the best. And on the other side, you go to K1 and 2 with artilleries, or either sit like here, go to K7 with the bushes. Just it's pretty much the same spot like for these, Or maybe, just maybe, you could sit with an artillery on K0, but only if it has high arc, like the EV304 and the Bishop, that can put very nice looping shots into these heavy tanks over here. But with this, if you sit here, you have pretty good shots on the Sevis here, like I have on the C100. Good shots here, you pretty much have shots anywhere. So, yeah. That is pretty much it for this video. So thank you guys for watching. Hope that if you are a noob and wanting to know about this map, hope that it got clear to where you have to go with a certain tank. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.
I never did belong. Tomorrow I'll be gone, don't cry. Mama, don't cry. I'm burning down this town, so if you see me around tonight, kiss me goodbye.